The grandfather clock in the hallway strikes 2, signaling that Thanksgiving dinner is at its peak, but the chime is drowned out by a sharp ting-ting-ting, cutting through the chatter of 18 relatives. Attention, everyone. If I could have your attention for a moment. My father, Randall Cooper, stands at the head of the table. He looks the part of the benevolent patriarch perfectly, cheeks flushed with wine, a crisp white shirt under his cashmere sweater, and a smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. "Mom and I have an announcement," he booms, his voice thick with pride. He reaches down and squeezes my shoulder. I'm sitting to his right, stiff as a mannequin. Shocking news, really. We have decided to hand over the inheritance rights of this house to Daisy. The family home finally belongs to the eldest sister, exactly as tradition dictates. After that, the room erupts. My aunts gasp in delight. My uncles clap loudly, shaking the table. Lila, sitting across from me, offers a tight, triumphant smile that looks more like a smirk. "Speech! Speech!" someone yells. Everyone is looking at me. They expect tears of gratitude. They expect a daughter overwhelmed by her parents' generosity. I force the corners of my mouth up, but I feel a cold chill run down my spine instead of happiness. A gnawing sense of unease creeps up from the pit of my stomach. They see a gift. I see a trap. The applause fades into a dull roar in my ears, as my mind snaps back to where this really began just 2 hours ago, when the house was still quiet, and the secrets hadn't yet been covered by noise and wine. When I first pulled my rental car into the driveway at 11 this morning, the house looked perfect from the curb. Fresh beige paint, gleaming white trim, new black shutters that still had that hardware store sheen. I sat there for a moment, staring at the place I grew up. Something felt wrong. I couldn't name it yet. It was just a whisper in my gut, the kind of instinct I learned to trust after surviving 3 rounds of corporate layoffs. That little voice that said, "Get your resume updated," 2 weeks before the axe fell. I grabbed my suitcase and headed up the front walk. The key was still under the ceramic frog by the door, exactly where it's been since 1998. Some things never change. Except this house had changed. I could smell it the second I stepped inside. Paint. Fresh paint. The kind that hasn't fully cured yet. It coated the back of my throat, chemical and thick. I set my luggage down in the foyer and looked around. Everything was pristine. The walls practically glowed. But underneath that sharp paint smell, there was something else. Something damp and organic, like wet cardboard left in a basement too long. "Daisy, you're early." Mom's voice rang out from the kitchen, breathless and urgent. I didn't answer right away. I was too busy running my hand along the wall in the hallway. The paint was so fresh it was almost tacky. Who repaints their entire house right before Thanksgiving? "Just a second, Mom," I called back. I hauled my suitcase upstairs to my old bedroom. The room looked exactly the same floral bedspread from high school, same desk by the window. I left the suitcase by the closet and wandered back into the hallway, drawn by that strange smell. The second floor felt different, smaller somehow. I walked from room to room, running my fingers along door frames, peering into corners. In the bathroom, the grout around the tub looked new. In the hallway, there was a slight buckle in the hardwood that wasn't there last Christmas. "Daisy, can you come down here, honey?" Mom's voice had an edge now. That particular tone she uses when she wants something and doesn't want to wait for it. I headed downstairs, taking my time. Mom, Evelyn, was in the kitchen, wearing her good apron with the embroidered turkeys. She had papers spread across the counter, a thick stack held together with a black binder clip. Yellow sticky notes bristled from the edges like porcupine quills. "There you are." She slid the papers toward me without preamble. "I need you to sign these real quick. The lawyer already handled everything. You just need to put your signature on the sticky notes. See? I marked them all for you." I looked down at the documents. The top page was dense with legal text, single-spaced, font so small it blurred into gray. "What is this?" "The house transfer, honey. Your father wants to announce it at dinner. You know how he loves his big moments." She was already turning back to the stove. "We're giving you the house." Isn't that wonderful? The family home, passed down to the eldest daughter, just like tradition says. For a split second, a wave of emotion washed over me. Validation. All my life, I had craved this. I had watched them spoil Lila, watched them hand her everything while I worked for every scrap. And now? Now they were choosing me. I uncapped the pen. I wanted to sign. I wanted to please them, to make this holiday perfect. The tip of the pen hovered over the first yellow tab, but then I stopped. I leaned in, squinting at the dense block of legal text beneath the sticky note. "The text is too small, Mom," I said, frowning. I left my glasses in the reading room when I popped in to check the printer earlier. I grabbed the thick file and stood up. "I'm going up to get my glasses," I said, my voice casual. "I need to print my boarding pass for tomorrow morning's flight anyway. I'll be down in 5 minutes." Mom moved to block my path, her hand reaching out as if to take the papers back. "Why don't you go get your glasses and come back down?" she said, her smile tight. "I'll help you go through it. It'll be faster that way." But I was already moving. I sidestepped her and started up the stairs, clutching the documents to my chest. "Just watch the turkey for me, Mom," I called back over my shoulder. "I'll be done in a second." I didn't wait for an answer. I walked calmly until I turned the corner of the landing. Then I moved faster. I slipped into the room, my heart still thumping from the close call with Mom. My reading glasses were right where I left them, sitting on the small table next to Dad's old laser printer. I picked them up and slid them onto my nose. The world sharpened instantly. I set the heavy stack of documents, the gift Mom was so desperate for me to sign, down on the mahogany desk. "First things first," I muttered. I woke up the desktop computer, pulled up my flight confirmation, and hit print. If things went south, I needed that boarding pass ready for a dawn escape. The printer whirred to life. It pulled a sheet of paper, made a sickening crinkle crunch sound, and ground to a halt. Silence. Then, an angry red light started blinking. Paper jam. "Great," I sighed. "Just what I needed." I reached over, popped open the front panel, and pulled out the paper tray to clear the blockage. A crumpled ball of paper came out with the tray, stuck deep in the rollers. I pulled it free carefully and smoothed it out on the desk, right next to the legal papers I had just set down. It was a scrap sheet, used on one side, but the back side. The back side was a printed email. From First National Bank. Subject: Refinance denied. Reason: debt-to-income ratio too high. Cosigner required. My blood ran cold. Why would they be generously gifting me a house when the bank had just refused to lend them money on it? I slipped the reading glasses onto my nose and lifted the first yellow sticky note. The words beneath it came into sharp focus. Loan assumption agreement. Not a deed, not a transfer, not a gift. My fingers went numb. I flipped to the next page, scanning the dense paragraphs. The assuming party, Daisy Cooper, agrees to assume full responsibility for the outstanding mortgage debt in the amount of $154,000. Effective immediately upon execution of this agreement. $154,000. They were not giving me a house. They were giving me their debt. The room tilted slightly. I gripped the edge of the desk to steady myself. My parents were not generous benefactors. They were looking for a scapegoat to save their credit score. The bank email crumpled in my other hand suddenly makes perfect sense. They got denied for refinancing because their debt ratio was too high. So they needed someone with good credit, someone stupid enough to sign without reading. Me. I flipped through more pages, my hands shaking now. There was a rider attached to the loan assumption, referencing an emergency repair disbursement that was already approved and distributed 3 weeks ago. $25,000 released directly to the homeowners for critical structural repairs. I looked up at the freshly painted walls of the den, at the new grout in the bathroom down the hall, at the suspiciously pristine baseboards. "Where did that money go?" I whispered. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from Mom. "Turkey's almost ready. Come down soon?" I did not answer. Instead, I grabbed my phone and the legal documents and headed for the back door. I needed air. I needed space to think, without Mom's voice drilling into my skull. The November cold hits my face like a slap. I welcomed it. I walked down the back steps, past the small garden where Lila and I used to play dolls when we were little. Before she learned that being helpless got her more than being capable ever could. I kept walking. My feet knew where they were going before my brain caught up. The garage. The detached 2-car garage at the back of the property. The side door was unlocked. It always was. I stepped inside, and the familiar smell of motor oil and old cardboard wrapped around me like a blanket. For a second, I'm 10 years old again, hiding from my sister's tantrums in the cool shadows. Dad's ancient Buick was parked in its usual spot, Mom's sedan next to it. Lila's little hatchback is there too, which means she drove separately even though she lives 20 minutes away. Then my eyes land on something in the far corner, something large, covered by a silver tarp. I moved toward it slowly. My heart was hammering against my ribs. The tarp was secured with bungee cords. I unhooked them one by one, and the fabric slid to the concrete floor with a heavy whoosh. A recreational vehicle. Brand new, judging by the shine on the chrome fixtures. It's enormous, the kind with a slide-out and a full kitchen. The kind that costs more than most people's annual salary. I stood there, staring at it. My brain was trying to process what I'm seeing, but it feels like trying to add numbers underwater. I reached for the driver's side door. It was unlocked. I climbed inside. The interior smelled like new leather and plastic. Everything was pristine. The odometer read 87 miles. I pop open the glove compartment, my hands moving on autopilot now. A folder. Inside, a bill of sale from Winnebago of Rockford. Purchase price, $87,000. Date of sale, 3 days ago. Purchaser, Randall Cooper. I closed the folder carefully and set it back in the glove box. My hands were not shaking anymore. They were perfectly steady. I climbed out of the RV and stood next to it, staring at the garage wall. The paint was peeling near the foundation. Dark streaks run down from the ceiling. The dampness I smelled in the house was stronger here, concentrated. I walked back toward the main house, my mind clicking through the pieces like a spreadsheet sorting itself. The fresh paint smell, the new grout, the buckling floorboards. I circled around to the basement entrance on the side of the house. The door was never locked. I pulled it open and descended the concrete steps. The basement was dim. I flipped the light switch. A single bulb flickered to life overhead. The walls down here were painted too, same fresh beige as upstairs. But here, in the dampness, the paint was already starting to bubble. I walked to the far wall and scratched at one of the bubbles with my fingernail. The paint flaked away easily. Underneath, the drywall was black. Not dirty black, not water-stained black. Mold. Toxic black mold, spreading in organic patterns like something alive. They borrowed $25,000 to fix the house. They spent $87,000 on a luxury RV instead. Then they painted over the rot and tried to trick me into signing my name to the crime scene. I heard footsteps above me. Someone was in the kitchen. I backed away from the wall and climbed the stairs. My cousin Marcus was coming out of the bathroom when I emerged. He stopped when he saw me, his face creasing with concern. "Daisy? You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." I forced my mouth into something resembling a smile. "I'm fine, just needed some air." He didn't look convinced, but he nodded and heads back toward the dining room where I could hear the relatives gathering. I gripped my phone tighter. I had a plan now. I scrubbed the grime off my hands in the powder room, took a deep breath to steady my shaking fingers, and walked back into the dining room. Now during dinner, the turkey sits golden in the center of the table. Wine glasses are half full. My cousin Rachel is telling some story about her kid's soccer game, waving her fork around for emphasis. Lila is laughing at something Uncle Mike just said, her hand draped casually over her wine glass. Nobody knows yet. They think this is just another Cooper family Thanksgiving. I slide into my seat to Dad's right. Mom catches my eye from across the table and gives me a tight smile. I don't return it. I set my phone face down on the table beside my plate. Then I place the folded bank email next to it, the paper crisp and damning. Dad clears his throat and stands, tapping his wine glass again. The room quiets. I want to finish what I started before. He beams down at me, his hand finding my shoulder again. That same proud squeeze. As I was saying, we're giving the house to Daisy. But here it comes. Since Daisy already has that big place in Denver, we think it's only fair to reward Lila a little bit too. Balance things out, you know. Mom reaches into her purse beside her chair. She pulls out a velvet box, navy blue with gold hinges. Even from here I can tell it's expensive. She slides it across the table to Lila with a flourish. Lila opens it slowly, her eyes widening with theatrical delight. Inside is a diamond necklace and matching earrings, the stones catching the light from the chandelier above. They sparkle like little drops of ice. "Oh my God," Lila breathes. She lifts the necklace out, letting it dangle from her fingers. Mom, Dad, this is too much. $11,000 worth, Dad says proudly. You deserve it, sweetheart. The table erupts again. Aunts coo over the jewelry. Uncle Steve whistles low. Rachel leans over to get a better look. Lila meets my eyes across the table, and her smile shifts. It becomes something sharper, more satisfied. She stands and walks around to my side, draping the necklace across her collarbone. Thanks, big sis, she says sweetly, projecting her voice so everyone can hear, for shouldering the family legacy. I know the house is a huge responsibility, but somebody has to do it, right? The subtext is clear to me even if nobody else catches it. I get the debt, she gets the diamonds. I get the rotting structure, she gets the liquid assets. Dad raises his glass. To Daisy, and to family tradition. 18 people reach for their glasses. The sound of crystal clinking fills the room. I don't move. My glass stays on the table, untouched. Instead, I pick up my phone and the folded paper, holding them both in my hands. The room slowly realizes I haven't joined the toast. Glasses hover in midair. Confused glances dart around the table. Daisy? Mom's voice is careful. Aren't you going to toast? I look at my father. He's still standing, his glass extended toward me, his expression frozen somewhere between pride and confusion. The RV in the garage is nice, Dad, I say. My voice comes out calm, almost conversational. Does it run on gas or on the betrayal of your own daughter? The silence is instant and total. You could hear a pin drop on the hardwood. Dad's face goes pale. What are you talking about? I unlock my phone and open the photo gallery. I hold it up, angling the screen so the people nearest me can see. The image shows the gleaming RV under the tarp, chrome fixtures catching the flash from my camera. I slowly pan the phone around the table, turning my body so everyone gets a clear view. You two plan to go traveling in this after I sign the debt papers, right? I keep my voice level, factual. $87,000. Purchased 3 days ago. Daisy, I don't know what. Dad starts, but I'm not done. I swipe to the next photo. The wall in the garage, paint scraped away to reveal the blooming darkness underneath. Black mold, spreading like cancer through the infrastructure of this house. And using cheap paint to cover up toxic black mold, I continue, still panning the phone around. Aunt Linda gasps. Uncle Steve leans back in his chair, tricking me into signing for this rotting carcass of a house. Mom's face has gone white. You had no right to go through our things. I had every right not to sign away my financial future. I set the phone down and pick up the folded paper, opening it with deliberate care. The bank logo is visible at the top. I hold it up like a prosecutor presenting evidence. The bank denied the refinance, I read aloud. Debt-to-income ratio too high. Co-signer required. I lower the paper and look directly at Dad. You need me to sign a loan assumption, not accept a gift. $154,000 of debt transferred straight to my name. Lila stands abruptly, her chair scraping loud against the floor. Big sis, surely there's a misunderstanding. Maybe we should talk about this privately. I turn to her, and whatever she sees in my face makes her stop mid-sentence. Shut your mouth. The words come out cold and flat. Your car is parked right next to that RV. You knew everything. Lila's mouth opens, closes. She sinks back into her chair, the diamond necklace suddenly looking obscene against her throat. Uncle Steve is the first to break the silence. Randall, is this true? Were you trying to dump your debt on Daisy? It's not like that, Dad says, but his voice has lost all its authority. We were going to help her with the payments. With what money? I ask. The money you spent on a luxury RV? Or maybe with the $11,000 you just gave Lila? Aunt Linda turns to Mom. Evelyn, you painted over black mold? That's illegal. That's fraud. The table erupts. Everyone is talking at once, voices rising in shock and anger. Rachel is staring at my parents like she's never seen them before. Uncle Mike is shaking his head in disgust. The cousins are whispering frantically to each other. Oh my God, Aunt Linda says again, louder this time. That is fraud. Mom tries to speak, but the table has turned. The relatives who were applauding 10 minutes ago are now condemning, criticizing, supporting me. I stand up, grabbing my handbag from the back of my chair. The room goes quiet again, all eyes on me. Good luck to the family with the bank, I say. I sling my bag over my shoulder and look one last time at my parents. Dad's face is red. Mom's eyes are shining with what might be tears or might be rage. Lila is staring at the diamonds in her lap like they might bite her. I turn and walk toward the front door. Nobody stops me. Behind me, the noise starts up again. Louder now. Angry voices demanding explanations. The sound of chairs scraping. Someone is crying. I grab my suitcase from the foyer where I left it this morning. The house still smells like paint and lies. I walk out the front door without looking back, pulling it shut behind me on the chaos inside. My rental car is right where I parked it. I throw my bag in the back seat and slide behind the wheel. My hands are steady on the key. The engine starts on the first try. I have a flight to Denver in hours, but I think I'll head to the airport now. I reach the airport terminal at 10:47 p.m. The place is nearly empty, just a handful of tired travelers slumped in plastic chairs, and one janitor pushing a mop across the tile floor. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead, making everything look washed out and unreal. I head straight to the ticket counter. The agent behind the desk is maybe 25, wearing too much eyeliner and looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. I show her my ticket and boarding pass and head toward the security checkpoint, then change my mind. Too early. They won't let me through for another 6 hours. Instead, I find a bench near the windows and settle in to wait. I pull out my phone. 3 missed calls from Mom, 2 from Lila. I silence it and shove it back in my pocket. They won't let this go. I know them too well. They're sitting in that house right now, panicking. 18 relatives just witnessed their perfect scam fall apart. The whispers have already started. Aunts and uncles are probably comparing notes, remembering all the little inconsistencies they overlooked before. I lean my head back against the wall and close my eyes. I'm exhausted, but sleep won't come. Every time I start to drift, I see Dad's face when I asked about the RV. That split second before he recovered, when his mouth opened and nothing came out. My phone buzzes. Once, twice, a dozen times in rapid succession. I pull it out. The family group chat is exploding. I scroll through without opening any of the messages. Most are from various aunts and uncles, asking if I'm okay, where I am. A few are defending Mom and Dad, saying there must be some misunderstanding. Then I see the preview of a message from Lila. Just the first few words show up on my lock screen. Are you happy? Dad just had a... My stomach drops. I open the message thread. Are you happy? Dad just had a heart attack and collapsed. The ambulance is coming. If anything happens to Dad, you are a murderer. The message was sent 4 minutes ago. Already, the group chat is blowing up with panicked responses. Aunt Linda is asking which hospital. Uncle Frank says he's getting in his car right now. I stare at the screen. My hands are completely steady. A heart attack. How convenient. How perfectly timed. I think about the last time I saw Dad, maybe 40 minutes ago. Standing at that dinner table, red-faced and furious, but not clutching his chest, not short of breath, just angry that his golden plan had imploded. I open a new browser window on my phone and type Rockford Memorial Hospital into the search bar. It's the closest hospital to their house, maybe 8 minutes by ambulance. I tap the phone number. It rings 3 times before someone picks up. Rockford Memorial, Emergency Department. The voice is calm, professional. A woman, probably in her 40s based on the timbre. Hi. I say, keeping my voice level. I'm calling to check on a patient who should have just been brought in by ambulance. Randall Cooper. Heart attack. There's a pause. I hear typing. Can you spell the last name? Cooper. More typing. The seconds stretch out. My pulse thuds in my ears, but I keep my breathing even. I'm not showing any patient by that name admitted tonight, the nurse says finally. Are you sure he came to this location? I just got a call saying he was being transferred here. Ma'am, I've checked our system. No Randall Cooper has been admitted or treated in our emergency department this evening. I close my eyes. There it is, the truth, clean and simple as a knife. Thank you, I say. That's all I needed to know. I hang up before she can respond. My hands move automatically. I open my phone's recent calls, take a screenshot showing the hospital's number and the timestamp. Then I open the family group chat. 43 new messages. Everyone is in full panic mode now. Mom has chimed in, her message dripping with drama. Please pray for Randall. Daisy, if you have any decency left, come home now. I type quickly, attaching the screenshot. The hospital says there is no one named, Randall admitted. Did Dad collapse onto a pile of cash or onto the leather seats of that RV, Lila? I hit send. Then I scroll up to the top of the group chat, tap the settings icon, and select Leave Group. The confirmation box pops up. Are you sure you want to leave, Cooper family? I tap Leave without hesitation. The chat disappears from my screen. My phone immediately starts buzzing with individual texts. Mom, Lila, Aunt Linda, Uncle Frank. I watch the notifications pile up on my lock screen, but I don't open any of them. Instead, I open my contact list. I scroll to Mom first, tap it. Select, block this caller, confirm, then Lila, block, Dad's number, block. I go through systematically, blocking every number that sent me a message in the last 10 minutes. When I'm done, my phone finally goes quiet. I lean back and look out the window. The tarmac is dark, except for the occasional sweep of a security vehicle's headlights. A plane takes off in the distance, red lights blinking as it climbs into the black sky. My phone vibrates one last time. A text from my cousin, the one who asked if I was okay when I came up from the basement earlier, the one who's always been straight with me. Just saw your hospital screenshot in the chat before you left. Holy shit, they're scrambling now. Half the family is furious at your parents. The other half is pretending they need to hear both sides. But I believe you. Stay safe. I type back quickly. Thanks. Tell anyone who asks. I'm fine, I'm safe, and I'm done. I don't wait for a response. I power down my phone completely and slide it into my bag. The airport is quiet again. Just the hum of the lights and the distant sound of that janitor's mop. I close my eyes and, for the first time in hours, I feel something that isn't anger or disgust. Peace. Cold and clean as winter air. They played their last card. The fake emergency, too. The guilt trip designed to drag me back into their web, and I killed it with a single phone call. No screaming, no crying, just facts. I pull my jacket tighter and settle in to wait for dawn. 3 days after Thanksgiving, my phone buzzes while I'm at my desk in Denver, staring at spreadsheets that refuse to balance. It's a text from my cousin Rachel, one of the few relatives who didn't side with my parents at the dinner. You need to see this. The screenshot loads slowly. Mom's Facebook page. A long post, public enough to be seen by every busybody in Rockford. I'm heartbroken to share that my eldest daughter is suffering from severe mental health issues. The stress from her job has made her paranoid and delusional. She's fabricating stories about RVs and black mold that simply don't exist. We're praying for her recovery. Please keep our family in your thoughts during this difficult time. Below it, Lila's comment. She's just jealous because I got the necklace. I read it twice. Then I set the phone down and stare at the wall of my apartment. The clean, mold-free wall that I pay for with money I actually earned. They're trying to gaslight me, publicly. I pick up the phone again and open my photos. The RV under the tarp, gleaming chrome, and that stupid price tag, visible in the bill of sale. The wall in the basement, scraped paint revealing black rot underneath. The bank email, still folded in my carry-on from the flight home. I text Rachel back. Can you do me a favor? Anything. I attach 3 files. The bank rejection email, the RV bill of sale with Dad's signature, and the $87,000 price tag. Close-up photos of the black mold, timestamp visible, showing Thanksgiving Day at 1:47 p.m. Feel free to correct the truth for me, I type. Rachel's response is immediate. Oh, this is going to be good. I set the phone face down and go back to my spreadsheets. I don't need to watch. I know exactly what's happening. Rachel is probably already typing furiously in Mom's comment section, uploading evidence, tagging relatives who were at that dinner table. Let them see the receipts. My phone starts buzzing nonstop around dinner time. Texts from aunts and uncles I haven't heard from in years. Is this real? Your mother lied? That poor girl. I don't answer any of them. I order Thai food and watch a documentary about financial fraud. The irony isn't lost on me. 1 week after Thanksgiving, a new email arrives. The sender is listed as concerned party, but the writing style screams Lila. She never could hide her voice, even when she tried. To Miss Daisy Cooper. We demand immediate payment of $50,000 for the following offenses: invasion of privacy, unauthorized entry into private garage, theft of proprietary documents, removal of vehicle paperwork, and public defamation, distribution of private family matters. If you do not return to Rockford within 72 hours to sign the outstanding house documents and rectify this situation, we will pursue full legal action in civil court. Our attorney is prepared to file. I read it 3 times. Then I laughed so hard I nearly choke on my coffee. Their attorney. They don't have an attorney. They can't even afford their mortgage payment, and they're threatening to sue me? The bank denied them a refinance because their debt-to-income ratio was too high. That means they're drowning. The RV payment alone would be killing them. I open a reply. My fingers hover over the keyboard. I could write paragraphs. I could detail exactly how stupid this threat is, how transparent their desperation has become. Instead, I type one line. Great. Sue me. I will send all evidence of this mortgage fraud to the court and send it to the IRS as well. I'm waiting for the subpoena. I hit send before I can second-guess myself. Then I forward the entire email chain to my own attorney, a sharp woman named Patricia, who helped me negotiate my severance package 2 years ago. I attach the photos, the bank email, and the RV bill of sale. For your information, I write, in case this escalates. Her response comes within an hour. If they're dumb enough to actually file, we'll counterclaim for attempted fraud. But my guess? You'll never hear from them again. People who make threats like this are usually broke and bluffing. She's right. Silence. Absolute, perfect silence. No more Facebook posts, no more threatening emails, no more guilt-inducing text messages about how I'm destroying the family. I check Mom's Facebook once, out of morbid curiosity. The post about my mental health issues has been deleted. The comment section where Rachel dumped all my evidence is gone too. The whole thing scrubbed clean, like it never happened. But the internet never forgets. I'm sure someone, somewhere, took screenshots. 2 months later, Rachel texts me again. This time there's no screenshot, just a message. The bank foreclosed. Your parents have 30 days to vacate. I stare at that text for a long time. I should feel something. Guilt, maybe. Satisfaction, something. Instead, I just feel tired. What about the RV? I type back. Repossessed last week. Lila's car too, apparently. She co-signed something she shouldn't have. Of course she did. Golden child. Dragged down by the same parents who built her pedestal. They're moving into an apartment on the south side. Rachel continues. Your mom tried to borrow money from half the family. No one's biting. I set the phone down. Walk to my kitchen. Pour a glass of water from the tap and look out the window at the Denver skyline. The mountains are visible today, sharp and clear against a blue sky. My apartment is small. 1 bedroom, barely 700 square feet. But it's mine. The walls are clean. The air doesn't smell like paint or rot. My credit score is intact. My bank account is growing, slowly but steadily. I didn't inherit a house. I didn't get a diamond necklace worth $11,000. But I'm free. My phone buzzes one more time. A new number I don't recognize. This is Mom. The landlord is evicting us. We need help. Please. I read it twice. Then I tap the number and select block contact. The phone goes quiet. I finish my water and go back to my spreadsheets. There's work to do, and I'm done carrying other people's debts. 4 months later, I sit at my kitchen table in Denver, watching steam curl off my tea. The morning light catches the edge of my mug, and beyond the window, the city spreads out in orderly blocks of possibility. No mansion, no inherited property. Just this 1-bedroom apartment I pay for with money I earned, and that makes it worth more than any crumbling house in Rockford ever could. The couch I picked out myself. The bookshelf I assembled without asking for help. The air smells clean, not like paint covering rot. I pay my bills on time. My credit score climbed 60 points since Thanksgiving. At night, I sleep through till morning without jolting awake, wondering what fresh disaster someone will try to drag me into. My laptop chimes with an email notification. I glance at the subject line and feel something close to joy crack through my chest. Congratulations on your promotion and raise. I open it slowly, reading each line twice to make sure it's real. Senior data analyst to lead analytics manager. A 20% salary increase, effective immediately. My supervisor wrote a paragraph about my exceptional analytical rigor and unshakable composure under pressure. If she only knew where I'd practiced those skills. I close the laptop and pull up a new browser tab, typing in the search bar before I can second-guess myself. Flights to Iceland. I've wanted to see the Northern Lights since I was 16, back when I was still saving every paycheck to help the family. There was always something. Dad's car needed new tires, Mom's dental work, Lila's rent, again and again and again. Not anymore. The booking page loads. I select a window seat on a flight leaving in 6 weeks. My finger hovers over the confirm purchase button for only a second before I click it. Trip confirmation. Boarding pass sent to email. A week in Reykjavik, solo, with nobody asking me for a single thing. My phone buzzes again. Different number this time. I recognize the area code. Rockford. Daisy, it's Lila. I know you blocked Mom, but please just hear me out. I was wrong. I see that now. They've been blaming me for everything since the foreclosure. Dad says it's my fault you exposed them. Mom won't even speak to me half the time. I'm sorry for what I did. Can we talk? Just once? I want to explain. I read the message 3 times. There's a small, distant part of me that remembers the sister I had before the diamond necklace, before she parked her car next to the RV and said nothing, before she called me a liar in front of 18 relatives. I text back, fine, 1 coffee, next Tuesday, Java House on Maple, 30 minutes. That's it. I'm not doing this for her. I'm doing it so I can look at her across a table, say what needs saying, and then walk away knowing I gave her the chance she never gave me. But that's next week. Today, I have a reservation to celebrate. I grab my coat and head out the door, locking it behind me. The elevator hums as it descends, and I catch my reflection in the polished steel doors. Same thick-rimmed glasses, same serious expression, but my shoulders sit differently now, looser, lighter. Outside, the Denver cold bites at my cheeks, but the sky is brilliant blue. I walk toward the restaurant district, hands in my pockets, thinking about geysers and glaciers and a trip I'm taking just because I want to. Somewhere in Rockford, my parents are scrambling. The bank took the house. The RV got repossessed. Their credit is scorched earth. I didn't destroy the family. The truth did. And I'm finally free.